Hi, K1 kindergarten friends. Mrs. Rutledge is here to make a chart with you. We're going to talk about animal homes. That is our theme this week for Unit 7, Week 3. And we're going to talk about animal homes. So if you want to get a piece of paper and a pencil to draw and write with us, you can. If you want to go back and do it later, you can do it later after the video. It's up to you. So we're going to talk about animal homes. And the fancy word for that is habitat. A habitat. A habitat is a place where an animal lives, or it could actually be a person too. People have habitats. All living things have habitats. Certain plants have a habitat. Certain animals have a habitat. And we're going to talk about two habitats, a forest and an ocean, and the different kinds of animals that may live there. And then we're going to talk about three specific animals and think about where or what kind of habitat they may live in. So to start off with, we have our our forest habitat up here. And I want you to think about some animals that you know that live in a forest. Can be lots of different ones. There's a ton. I'm only going to write a few. When I think of a forest, the first animal that comes to my mind is a bear, because we've learned a lot about bears in kindergarten. So I'm going to write bear. Let me scoot this over a little bit. So I'm going to write a bear. A bear can live in a forest. A bear can live in a forest. What else lives in a forest? Oh, I've got one. A rabbit. Yeah, a rabbit can live in a forest. What else lives in a forest? Ooh, I just thought of a good one. Did you know that there are some birds that live in the forest? Can you think of a bird that might live in a forest? Yeah, an owl. That's what I was thinking. I know an owl lives in a forest because they love to live up in the very tops of trees. And I know owls are there even though I don't see them during the day. They're there because I can hear their hoot at night and in the early morning and evening times. So we have a bear, we have a rabbit, and we have an owl. Another animal that might come to mind, one that I'm thinking of that I grew up with, I'll seeing a lot of, are deer. Yeah, deer like to live in the forest. All of these animals live in the forest, and that's their habitat because what they eat lives in a forest. Bears like to eat mostly plants. They're omnivores, so they eat plants and they can also eat other small animals. They also like to eat a lot of fish, and so if there's a creek or a river running through the forest, a bear certainly will know the best fishing spot. Rabbits like to live in the forest because what they eat is in a forest. They're vegetarians, so they eat lots of leaves and different kinds of plants. And owls live in a forest. Owls are predatory birds, so they like to hunt other small animals, and they do most of their hunting during the night. They're nocturnal. Most of them are nocturnal, which means that they are awake during the nighttime and sleep during the day. And owls like to eat other small animals. They eat snakes and mice and rats and moles and gophers and different smaller animals. And then deer. Deer are vegetarians as well. They like to eat lots of plants as well. So all of these things live in a forest because that's where they find their food. Let's think for a minute about an ocean. When you think of the ocean, what's an animal you think of? Ooh, right away, a big one, a big ocean animal. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Maybe. How about this one? Do you know what I'm going to say? Yes, a whale. That's right. Whales definitely live in the ocean, and it can be a blue whale, which is the largest of the whale family, or a gray whale, or a humpback whale, or even an orca whale. Yeah, lots of different whales, but they have to live in an ocean. What else lives in an ocean? Oceans have salt water. Oh, I know. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Your moms and dads may know what I'm thinking. That's a shark. Yeah, sharks live in the ocean. Yeah, sharks definitely live in the ocean. What else? Ooh, I know one that has lots of wiggly arms. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? How about this? An octopus. Yes, for sure, an octopus lives in the ocean. Let's see, one more ocean animal. Can you think of one? Oh, I'm thinking of one with a hard shell. Do you know an ocean animal that with a hard shell? Yeah, a crab or a lobster. They're called crustaceans because their bones are actually on the outside of their body. So I'm going to write crab. Yeah, crabs like to live in the ocean. One of my favorite stories is A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. I should read that. So there's 2 different habitats and different animals that can live in each habitat. And the reason why those animals live in that particular habitat is because that's where they're most comfortable, right? Would a shark or a whale be able to live in a forest? Not very well. Would a bear or a rabbit be able to live in an ocean? No. So habitats are special because the animals that live within that habitat live there because what they eat is in that habitat, and that's where they're most comfortable. It has the right temperature and the right place for them to make their homes. So, and have their babies. It has all those things that they need. So habitats are really important. Other habitats that you might want to think of are a desert habitat, or a rainforest habitat, or one of the habitats we just got done studying was about the Arctic habitat and what lives in the Arctic or Antarctic. Those are special habitats that have specific animals that live there as well. Another habitat you can think of is just your backyard. If you go outside around where you live, what creatures do you see? What birds do you see? Are there squirrels? Are there insects specifically living around your house? Check it out. Now down here at the bottom, we have 3 different specific kinds of animals. We have a bird, a bee, and a squirrel. Don't mind my silly little drawings. Mrs. Rutledge just does her best, but I'm not really that artistic. So I want to see if you can think of what kind of place a bird would live in. Do you have an idea where a bird would live? Yeah, if those of you who said forest, yeah, they probably would live in a forest, for sure. But let's be more specific. If I was a bird living in my backyard, what part of the backyard would I live in? Yeah, probably a tree. And what do birds make? What kind of specific home does a bird make? That's right, a nest. That's right. So a bird, if a bird were going to make a specific home, the type of home birds like to live in are some sort of nest. Now some birds make their nests out of mud. Some birds make their nest out of sticks and twigs, like the one I'm making. If you want to try to make a nest like I'm making, I'm just taking my brown and I'm just making a bunch of X's, right? Yeah. a little nest for my bird. So that nest might be in a tree in a forest, or it might be in a tree in your backyard. Who knows? But yeah, a nest is what they would build. That's a specific type of habitat. So you have your area like a forest, but then within that forest, they might be in a nest, which is part of their habitat as well. How about a bee? Do you know what bees live in? Yeah, bees make hives. And so a hive might be kind of a little hill shape, and they make these little honeycombs. Some people actually make hives for bees specifically to live in their yards. They make them out of wood, and they're like a box, and they've got little places for the bees to go inside. And then inside that hive is where they sleep and they eat and they make their honey. And did you know that bees make different rooms for different things inside their hive? They do. Yeah, they're pretty smart, those bees. And then we have a squirrel. Where would a squirrel live? Yeah, they might live in a forest. They could live in your backyard, right? Squirrels like to live usually around trees. Sometimes they'll build a nest, like a big nest with leaves and twigs. Sometimes they'll find a little cutout place inside of a tree, like a little hole or a little notch inside of a tree, and they'll live inside there. Yeah, they like to live inside a tree. Or they'll make a big nest on a branch too. But if they can be inside of a tree, if they can find a place that's really protected, they like that as well. So yeah, and that tree could be in a forest, or it could be in a park, or it could be in your backyard. So there you go. Now you are going to work on page 211 in your packet. And it goes with our category of habitats and different kinds of homes for animals. Hope you enjoyed the video.